The logistics of the alliance between Japan and the United States are undergoing the most significant structural transformation in 7 decades. For the majority of the post-war era, the dynamic was strictly unidirectional, characterized by Washington supplying hardware and security guarantees, while Tokyo provided bases and host nation support. However, as of early 2026, a historic reversal is underway. The decision by the Japanese government to transfer Patriot Advanced Capability 3 interceptors from its own inventory to the United States marks a watershed moment. It signals that Japan has evolved from a consumer of defense products into a critical provider of industrial resilience, utilizing its manufacturing excellence to stabilize the strained supply chains of its primary ally. This shift is driven not by a desire for military expansion, but by the pragmatic necessities of global logistics. The ongoing conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East have placed unprecedented pressure on the United States defense industrial base. The demand for air defense systems has outpaced the production capacity of American facilities, creating dangerous gaps in global stockpiles. In this context, the Japanese defense industry, led by heavyweights such as Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, has emerged as a vital strategic asset. With the only active production line for the Patriot Advanced Capability 3 missile outside of the United States, Japan possesses the unique ability to replenish American inventories. This transfer creates a circular supply chain where Japanese manufacturing quality directly supports the readiness of the United States military, allowing Washington to maintain its commitments elsewhere without depleting its own strategic reserves. The operational logic behind this transfer rests on the revisions to the 3 principles on transfer of defense equipment and technology, approved by the Japanese cabinet in December 2023. These changes dismantled the long-standing ban on exporting commodities produced under license back to the country of origin. While the legal text is technical, the strategic implication is profound. It allows Japan to utilize its industrial capacity to support the international security environment without directly exporting lethal aid to active combat zones. By sending interceptors to the United States, Japan acts as a stabilizer. The missiles from Japan refill American warehouses, thereby freeing up American manufactured units to be deployed where they are most needed. This nuanced approach aligns with the constraints of the Japanese Constitution, while acknowledging the reality that national security is now inextricably linked to the stability of global supply chains. Central to this initiative is the concept of Monozukuri, or the art of making things, which is deeply embedded in the Japanese industrial identity. The Patriot missiles manufactured in Japan are not merely generic replicas. They are the product of rigorous quality control standards that often exceed original specifications. Defense analysts note that the reliability of the guidance systems and propulsion units produced by Japanese subcontractors is highly regarded by the United States Department of Defense. This reputation for precision transforms the transfer from a simple commercial transaction into a validation of Japanese engineering. It demonstrates that the Japanese defense sector is not just a secondary assembly hub, but a Tier 1 partner capable of upholding the highest standards of military technology. The economic dimensions of this arrangement are equally significant. For decades, the high cost of Japanese defense procurement was driven by low production volumes. The Japan Air Self-Defense Force often paid a premium for domestic equipment simply to keep production lines open. By integrating into the United States supply chain, Japanese manufacturers can achieve economies of scale that were previously impossible. An increase in production volume for export naturally leads to a reduction in the unit cost for domestic procurement. A single Patriot Advanced Capability 3 missile segment enhancement interceptor, which can cost upwards of $5 million, becomes more affordable for the Japanese taxpayer when the factory lines are running at full capacity to meet Allied demand. Therefore, helping the United States replenish its stock is also a fiscally responsible strategy for maintaining Japan's own defensive capabilities. Looking beyond the immediate transfer of Patriot systems, this development sets the stage for the Defense Industrial Cooperation, Acquisition, and Sustainment Framework known as DICAS. This initiative aims to deepen the integration between the technological bases of the two nations. Following the precedent set by the Patriot transfer, discussions are already progressing regarding the co-production of other critical assets, such as the Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missile and potentially the Standard Missile-6 used by naval forces. The goal is to create a seamless industrial ecosystem where a factory in Nagoya or Kobe can produce components that are fully interchangeable with those made in Arizona or Alabama. This level of integration serves as a powerful deterrent. It signals to potential adversaries that the alliance is backed by a diversified and redundant industrial base that cannot be easily disrupted. However, this transition is navigated with extreme political caution. The Japanese public remains sensitive to the idea of the nation becoming an arms exporter. Consequently, the government has framed these transfers strictly within the context of the alliance and national defense. The narrative emphasizes that a weakened United States military capability directly impacts the security of Japan. If the United States runs out of interceptors, the nuclear umbrella that protects Japan becomes less credible. Therefore, exporting these systems is portrayed not as a business venture, but as a necessary contribution to the collective self-defense mechanism. This framing is essential for maintaining domestic support for the evolving role of the self-defense forces and the industries that support them. Furthermore, this reverse export model addresses a critical vulnerability in modern warfare, which is the rate of consumption. Modern high-intensity conflicts consume munitions at a rate that far exceeds peacetime production planning. The United States has recognized that it can no longer rely solely on its domestic industrial base to meet surge demand. By tapping into the manufacturing capabilities of allies like Japan, the alliance creates a distributed arsenal. Japan acts as a strategic depth for the United States, providing a safe harbor for production and maintenance that is beyond the reach of immediate front lines. This role is far more substantial than simply hosting military bases. It makes Japan an indispensable stakeholder in the global security architecture. The long-term vision involves Japan moving from licensed production to joint development. The experience gained from managing the supply chain for complex systems like the Patriot Advanced Capability 3 provides Japanese engineers with the data and expertise needed to contribute to the next generation of defense technology. It paves the way for Japan to have a greater voice in the design phase of future systems, ensuring that the specific requirements of the Japanese defense environment are integrated from the blueprint stage. This evolution from licensee to co-developer represents a maturation of the Japanese defense industry, allowing it to stand on equal footing with its Western counterparts. In the final analysis, the shipment of Japanese-made missiles to the United States is a quiet but definitive declaration of a new era. It redefines the bilateral relationship from one of protection to one of partnership. The alliance is no longer defined solely by the presence of American troops on Japanese soil, but also by the presence of Japanese technology in American stockpiles. This interdependence enhances the resilience of both nations, By leveraging its industrial strength, Japan has found a way to project influence and ensure stability without firing a single shot, adhering to its pacifist principles while pragmatically addressing the harsh realities of the modern security environment. The integration of Japanese manufacturing prowess into the United States defense grid ensures that the alliance remains robust, responsive, and technically superior in the face of emerging threats.